Hey guys, Paul McClain here, and welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. Honored to have you guys, watching today. I don't know where you're watching it from, if it's an office, if it's your house, if it's in bed. Hopefully you're out of bed, but if it's in bed, hey, I'm excited to be, speaking to you this morning. And my goal is really to provide as much value as possible this morning with you. And I just believe the concept that's going to be covered, I think it could change everything for you. I've seen the difference it's made for myself and the way my business has grown and my personal development. And so we're going to really talk about some of these pavers, the stepping stones, these big blocks, these firm foundation that as you step and as you build, you can build it upon something that's unshakable, unmovable, that's built to last. And also some of these pavers that as you build it, it's building the path to the next level that you want to hit. I believe everybody's got a gap where you're at and where you want to go. We're going to talk about some of these key pavers that help you step from where you're at to where you want to go. And one thing I can tell you is this much. I'm positive, and the numbers reveal this thing, that the growth, it's never looked like this. This is one of those times where every minute you put in, it's got like a sevenfold multiplier on it. I'm always been about man, if I can sow a seed and reap sevenfold, oh, sign me up, baby. I'm all in on that. And the timing right now it's just impeccable for growth and for you to go out there and accomplish what may have taken many people years. You can accomplish in a very short period of time. And we've got many success stories to prove that the point. Now, I was watching this fight the other night, a UFC fight. It's what I watch, and every time they come out, it just makes me feel manly with 4 daughters. So watching these guys fight, this one guy, does a leg kick and he breaks his foot. You could hear it. You could see it. His foot's broken. The way he's standing, the way he's holding himself, you can tell. And in the corner, and there's no fans. I mean, you can hear the corner. The coaches are not screaming at him to make him aware. They're not getting his attention and increasing his awareness. They're not saying, "Hey, go now, attack. He's wounded. The fight is yours. The victory is yours. It's already done. You've won now. The guy's got a broken foot. He can barely stand." They don't say anything. And then the guy right after that, within the same round, a minute later, ends up, hitting him, getting on top, and finishing the fight. And I sat back and thought, man, what a missed opportunity, right? What a missed opportunity. The guy really, the other guy, maybe he was better, but his foot was broken. And see, no matter who you are or what your background is, your past, anything you've come from, right now, the season that Family First Life is in, it's really setting you up where whatever effort you put in, whatever skill set you've got, it's going to be magnified because it's that good. And so really what I want to do is kind of, help ensure that you don't miss the payoff that's before you because of some of these subtle things. What are those things? Well, I do believe that your internal growth is always going to precede external growth. You got to develop yourself at the rate that you're going to start to see external successes take place, or you'll just self-sabotage, you'll implode. I mean, we've seen this many times. Think about lottery winners. How many times have you heard somebody winning the lottery and then within 24 months, 90% of them are bankrupt and they're worse off than they were before, and they're more emotionally exhausted. Their character is more, confirmed in a light that they don't want to see. They just destroy their self-image, self-esteem, because heck, they've always dreamed, if I could just have a shot, if I could just get all this, if I could win the lottery, and then they win it, they blow it all, and now they're back in the same spot that they didn't want to be in the first place, but yet they have this regret. And so pavers, guys, it's the foundation to build it. So when you build it, you can build it right. I love what, and we're going to get into it and dive deep into this morning, but I love what Dr. Joe Dispenza says, and I'm going to kind of read right from it so you can hear how he said it very specifically. He says, "Your thoughts and feelings come from your past memories. If you think and feel a certain way, you begin to create an attitude. An attitude is a cycle of short-term thoughts and feelings experienced over and over again. Attitudes are shortened states of being. If you string a series of attitudes together, you create a belief." And as we've spoken to and we've interviewed many people, you understand how important belief is. Self-belief, right? Belief in what you can accomplish, belief in the success you're going to have. So over a period of time, you create a belief. Beliefs are more elongated states of being and tend to become subconscious. When you add beliefs together, you create a perception. Your perceptions, how you view stuff, right, has everything to do with the choices. Choices are what you do, right? The choices you make, the behaviors you exhibit, the relationships you choose, and the realities that you create. And so how you view something is how you do something. And this is such a big deal because oftentimes, we could have the best opportunity before us, the ability to go out there and change our lives, to change our trajectory of where our life's going, our financial situation, the business, the wealth that you're going to pass on, generations that you can affect. But if you're seeing it the wrong way, if you're seeing it through the failures, setbacks, struggles, whatever has led you to Family First Life, if you're seeing it through the same year as you had last year, what you're going to do is you're going to get the same year this year as you had last year. You'll go ahead and self-sabotage, or you'll create certain choices and behaviors are going to go ahead and lead you to an outcome that's really limited from the one you can have. So it talks about that. And so as you read that, we're going to go ahead and peel that back and give you some practical things. I'm going to give you some practical things this morning that when you leave, you know what to put in place, a new habit you can create that I promise you will continue to shape the way you view things, where every day you're viewing things at a different level, a different thought process. You think bigger. And so you can go out there and behave in such a way to make that come to fruition. All right, so as we talk about these things, the first thing is this, these pavers, these activities we're going to get into, I just got to tell you guys, they happen early in the morning. They happen well before the start of the Monday Morning Wake Up podcast. They happen before 7 a.m. And so the first step is, the reality is this: you're self-employed. So every day you have to discipline yourself to what you do within the day. And if you don't control your day will control you. If you don't take control of your circumstances and dominion over your mind and start to see yourself as an overcomer, as someone that's going to conquer the day will conquer you. And so you want to give yourself enough time in the day when you wake up to not just get, thrown into fighting fires, thrown into just running that first appointment, making your first dial. You want to kind of fortify yourself. You want to get your mind right. You want to see things the right way and equip yourself to go out there and really fight the battle that you need to fight. And a lot of times that's a battle in your mind. And that's the most important one you can fight, most important one you can win, right? And so the first thing is waking up early in the morning. And so what I've done is I wake up, my alarm clock goes off at 4:30 a.m. I put a water bottle in the bathroom. That's where my cell phone goes. Right before I go to bed, cell phone goes in the bathroom. I turn on the alarm. That thing goes off. I can't just roll over and hit snooze. I got to get out of bed. I got to walk into the different room. And once I get there, my only commitment that day, it's not to read, it's not to pray, it's not to book appointments, it's not to go see clients. My only goal is just to drink that bottle of water. That's the first thing. I'm not thinking about everything else. I just need to drink the bottle of water. And I pound the water bottle. Like, you want to drink that dang water bottle like, it's a beer bong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you used to do that back in the day. I may or may not have. And it may or may not have been pretty good at it. But you want to just pound that thing, shotgun that sucker. You know what I mean? You get all that water. And what happens is you start to hydrate. And hydration will increase your mental capacity, the way you're functioning, your energy levels, everything that starts to fire off on and off, the hormones that are released, all that kind of stuff, it starts to take place. And so you want to say, man, today's going to be a great day. That's how you start. Now, I love what Andrew did. He's like, man, I still was struggling. So he went on Amazon, I think, and bought a rug. And the rug is like the wake up rug. And what you do is you put it right by the coffee maker, completely opposite end of the room. And when it goes off, it screams. So it's like, dude, I don't know if I want to wake up in horror and terror. He's like, I just want to get up early. So that thing starts freaking out and going off, and you got to go stand on it for it to shut off. That's what he did, and it works. And so the first step, though, is to get up early. Now, the first P in Pavers is prayer. Now, I'm not going to tell you, what to do. I'm not going to say, I'm not putting my faith on you guys. I'm a man of faith, but, so it could be meditation. It could be just having some silent time where you just sit there and you don't think about nothing. Maybe you practice breathing. Maybe you just sit there and meditate. For me, like the way I see it, right? And again, do whatever you want to do, but prayer is what I was created for, to have that relationship and fellowship. And so I want to have my thought process, and I want to be able to see myself and view myself the way God does. And I want to be able to give my worries and anxieties I want to give them to God so he can protect and guard my mind and my heart. I want to give those to him. And so I do that early in the morning. Now, you don't have to. I've always looked at it like I'm a big espresso drinker. Like I like drinking, like give me a triple shot. I'm good. My wife likes half calf. I don't even understand why they created half calf. It makes no sense. Like half calf, like why would you do such a thing? Half calf, in my opinion, is like what meditation is. I think prayer, that's like a triple shot espresso. But that's how I start the day. And and by the way, and I'm going to give you guys some just, some different passages from the word. Again, you don't have to, you could pretend like it wasn't from the word if you don't want it to be. And by the way, it shows up in many different books, many different things, and it's very relevant. But I think when I read it from the word, it does something different. You know what I mean? Like it's more invigorating. It means more. It just hits you different, right? And so I love when the word says, enter my gates with thanksgiving, my courts with praise. I mean, like I want to enter my day like that. If I can enter my day the way God says enter, his gates, right, and his courts, like that's a good thing, right? And so I have this in the morning. My first thing I do is I'm praying, and it's a prayer of gratitude. I'm thanking God for different things, and I'm thinking about those different things, right? I'm visualizing those different things. I like to go to a point in time where, maybe it was something that I just felt like this flood of joy, this gratitude. I remember going to dinner, and I was in Aruba with my kids and my wife, and I just remember it. There's been many different, but this one just stands out. Where I was looking around the dinner table, and man, I just felt grateful. I was just like, God, I almost got, my wife's like, what's wrong with you? Like, it looked like I was starting to cry, but I was just like overwhelmed with gratitude. I think about that moment. And everybody's got a different moment, whatever that moment is for you, and you probably have many moments. I've got tons of different moments. But I think about that one. It just does something, and I've gone through and rehearsed it in my mind many different times to build the gratitude that I want to have, right? And so that's the first thing is prayer. Second thing is affirmation, right? It's speaking what you want. I live in the high desert, and man, you don't have to plant any weeds. You don't have to plant them. They just grow there by default, right? You walk outside and there's a weed there. And they grow back consistently unless you do something about them consistently. I go hula home. In fact, that was my first jobs when I was like 9 years old. I go hula ho yards, which is a great business in the high desert because the supply never ends. They just grow back. So I hula home. And the next day, boom, they could grow right back. But you don't got to plant them. Dude, they're ugly. They're terrible looking. They grow big. They get thorns. You step in it, and all of a sudden you got long-lasting effects of that one weed, right? But your mind's the same way. By nature, by default, you have negative thoughts, right? You got that little chatterbox going off in your mind, that little voice that says like, man, you ain't good enough. This ain't going to work. You need to know more about this. Distraction, distortion, discouragement. That's what that voice does. And if you don't take control over it and what it's saying, it's going to take control over the way you see yourself. And you can't value yourself above the label you give yourself. Just the same way when somebody says, man, these leads are just this. Well, it's like, God, do you know what you just did? If you wanted to be successful and get more from the leads, you just put a lid on that. You just shot yourself in your foot. Why? Because you cannot value something above the label that you give it, right? It's kind of like the person that says, my kid is a brat. You're a brat. Well, congratulations. If you don't think you're going to get more brat behavior, you're going to. You just basically because you're going to treat him or her in such a way that actually derives more of that, because that's what you cannot value above the label you put. Now, the question is, what label do you have on yourself? What's the label you give yourself? What do you say about yourself? And it has to be intentional. It has to be by design. It has to be by design. By default, you get destroyed. By design, you can create something that's going to lead you to the success you desire. And so affirmation, I love what scripture says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat its fruit. And so you can speak life over something and you'll see it produce life. You speak death over it and you'll see it die. It's the way it works, right? I mean, you look at the way the creation, God created the world in 6 days, right? By speaking it, by saying, let there be light. He didn't say let me go and figure out how to put together light. Let me make it with my hands. He spoke it, everything. He spoke it, and so it was. And he said it was good. He spoke it, he spoke it, he spoke it. So it just talks about how important that is. And I think about, again, I'm just giving you guys this example because I think it really kind of shows the value of this. But think about like even, you know, as you look at like Abraham, from Abram to Abraham, right? You know, God gave him a new name when he was getting ready to step into a new season. You know, he changed his name to a name of like the father of many, you know, a multitude. And that was important because he wanted him to start believing it. So every time, you hear your name more than anything else, every time he knew what his name, every time somebody said his name, it was validating who he was going to become. It was validating the season he was getting ready to step into. It's the same thing with Jacob. Jacob, like deceivers. Every time somebody says Jacob, it reminded him of his past, right? Like his deception, conniving, stealing his brother's birthright, all these different things. But God renamed him Israel, right? He renamed him Israel. And he was going to be, the father of all the nations, like the chosen people. That was the new name that God had given to step into that. Say, hey, you're no longer the deceiver. You're now you're the one that's going to be over my people, my God's people, my people. You're going to be the one that leads them, right? And so it's a big deal. And so what you want to do is sit back and say, hey, what are some affirmations that I could have? Create a new name for yourself, man. I am blessed. I'm favored. I'm valued. I'm great at sales. I'm great at helping people. I am great at serving people. I'm confident. I'm highly favored. I'm loved. I'm valued. Start speaking that stuff. I'm great at serving clients. I'm great at booking appointments. I'm great at hiring agents. I'm a business owner. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great teacher. All these kind of things. Speak what you want. And you say, well, man, I don't even believe it. I ain't no good communicator. Well, it's because you're believing what you're telling yourself. And so you've already come up in your mind with this verdict of I'm this, and then you go out and create the evidence to support the verdict that you come to in the first place. So you got to create this new narrative of how you see yourself. Affirmations are that important. You can't value yourself above the label that you put on yourself. So it might feel weird. That's okay. Be clear. It always feels weird, right? But if corny works, are you willing to get corny? I could care less. Sign me up. If it makes a difference, if it improves my life where I could be better, as a father, spouse, business owner, leader, teacher, trainer, if I could get better, sign me up for the areas that matter most in my life. Next thing is this, visualization. So we got prayer, affirmation, visualization. And see, this is a big deal because oftentimes what we do is we're just rehearsing the feelings from the past, right? How you feel about yourself, how you see yourself from the past. And then we go through the motions and behave in such a way that really just kind of creates the same environment. That's why when you meet someone, it's like, man, they've always had this bad break after bad break, this situation. It's like this reoccurring cycle. Well, why? Why the cycle? Well, the cycle is because every morning you wake up and you've got the thoughts, you're thinking about the past and what took place and what happened. And you're holding on to those thoughts, and those thoughts are deriving these feelings, and these thoughts have been going on and perpetuating for so long that you feel shame, guilt, discouraged, not good enough, despair, all these things. You feel that way, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it because it feels like you, because it's been rehearsed so frequently. And so this is the powerful thing. This is the taking dominion over your mind. When you can visualize what you want to have happen, right? When you can see it in the best way, and when you can see it through the lens of faith. Faith is assurance of what you hope for and what you don't yet see. So you're starting to see things that you hope for, not visualizing the past that you don't want. And so waking up or not waking up, but once you go through the prayer and affirmation, sitting there and visualizing the behavior that you want to have that day, and visualizing it done with excellence. Done with excellence. Booking the appointments, visualize it with excellence. Sitting with the clients, that they visualizing them eager to meet you. appreciative to meet you, trusting you, them knowing that your heart is to serve them and help them. Hiring agents, visualize, them being the right person. Visualize them, excited to work with you and on your team. Visualize getting them going. Visualize what you want to have happen. See, the thing is this, you don't know the difference between what you experience in reality, and what you visualize. Your mind doesn't know the difference. So how do you know that? Have you ever had a nightmare? You wake up sweating, what the heck's going on? You're worried, you're panting. That didn't really happen. It was a nightmare. In fact, my wife the other night, she's like, she tells me in the morning, she says, last night, did you know you were crying? I was like, what are you talking about? I wasn't crying. She's like, yeah, you were crying. I said, what do you mean? She said, I was going to wake you up, and it was so funny. I just sat there and I was watching, I was laughing. And I was like, did you videotape me and send it to your sister? Because that's what they do. They videotape me and they it's like this fun game that they got. And she said, no, I didn't, but I should have. And she said, you're crying, like a baby, you're screaming, and she's like, I was kind of pushing, you weren't waking up. And I was like, I don't know what the heck I was dreaming about, but I thought it was real. You say, how do you know it was real? Man, I was making noises like it was real. And so that's applicable, and you have control today. That's real today. It works for you today. So every morning, can you visualize desired outcome? Can you visualize the behavior that will lead to the desired outcome, and it being done with excellence? Because it makes that big of a difference. Visualize yourself growing a business. Visualize yourself behaving like that top level professional, that business owner, that board member. Visualize yourself like that. I remember reading this story, and this kid, he's failing out of high school, getting F's, he's about on the last, brink to be expelled and be out of school, just failing. True story. And he needs to take the SATs. Mom says, you got to take the SATs. He's like, I don't want to take the SATs. Why? She's like, you have to take them. So he's like, all right, I'll take them. So he takes the SATs, and the scores come back. He gets a 1,400 out of 1,600. I think that's what it is. I think 1,600 is the top. So he's 200 below, like a genius. Mom's like, did you cheat? He's like, no, I tried to cheat. I couldn't cheat though. She's like, you had to cheat it. He said, I didn't cheat. She's like, are you sure? He said, I didn't. I tried. I couldn't do it. And so he realizes, man, I'm smart. What the heck? So he stops hanging out with the same people he used to hang out with. He starts attending classes. He starts getting into different classes, honor classes, different things like that. His teachers start treating him differently. People start treating him differently, and ends up going, finishing the school year with good grades, gets into junior college, and then eventually excels great at that, gets into an Ivy League school, gets a degree, becomes one of the most successful magazine entrepreneurs in the country. Well, fast forward, decades later, he gets this letter in the mail. His wife's like, you can open it up. It's from the SAT board. He's like, yeah, open it up. So he opens it up, and the SAT board goes through, policies and procedures periodically, and they looked it up and realized that they sent him the wrong score. He actually got a 740, which is I'm not saying dumb, but and I don't want to offend you if you got a 740. In fact, if you got a 740, you don't know you got a 740 because you don't know what your score is. I had somebody say, man, I was really smart. So what's your SATs? He said, I don't know. I was like, I don't either, which means you didn't get a good score like I didn't get a good score. But a 740. And he realized, and that people think man, his life changed when he got that 1,400. No, his life changed when he behaved like a 1,400. His life changed when he behaved differently. So if you can start visualizing in such a way that sees yourself as that type of person, and then you start behaving like that, you're going to start to see the outcome results come. Next one is this: exercise. The reality is this, you can build something great, but if you ain't here to enjoy it, you ain't going to enjoy it. So you got to, health is a big deal. You don't want to be the person that's developed wealth and can go out there and has got all this money to be able to create memories and experiences and to give back and charities and all these different beautiful things, but you can't enjoy it because you're not healthy enough to. So exercise, and it releases endorphins. And I like to do a gratitude walk or gratitude run, where I just run around the lake and I can just think about things I'm grateful for. Man, it releases endorphins and dopamine, all the good stuff to really be invigorating to make it a massive day. Next one is this: reading. And I like what the Bible says. It says every day, it says renew your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind so you're not conformed by the patterns of the world. the pattern of the world and the pattern that you might have had prior, you don't want that to be the pattern going forward. Like every day I want to renew myself. I don't want to conform to broke-mindedness, blaming, justifying, all these different things of this limited belief. I want to renew my mind. My daughter's like, this new thing going around. It's like everybody's saying, do you. Like, do you, boo? I'm like, man, do you? I want to create a new you. I want to be new every day. I want to grow every day. I want to think differently tomorrow than I did today. I want to think differently today than I did tomorrow so I can have a different result tomorrow than I had today. I want to renew my mind. And the word says meditate on the word day and night, day and night. See, when you're reading and developing, you're continuing to grow and to start to see yourself in a different light. You start to get that edge and advantage because you're reading and you're developing yourself. And so you want to renew that mind day in and day out. And faith comes by hearing the word. Read what you want to read. Someone said, you read a bunch of books. I said, I read a book. There's a lot of little books in the big book. But that book, in my mind, because I've read many other books prior, it all comes from that big book. And so every day I build the faith by reading the word, because faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God. And that's just what I do. You don't have to do it. You can read any other book. Last one is this, scribing. Now, you say, what is scribing? Because Eddie was messing with me. He's like, dude, what the heck is scribing? He says, that's like what they did on tablets. So for one, dude, it made my dang acronym work, all right? So journaling is the same thing as scribing, right? Look at but it makes my acronym work. PAVERS, P-A-V-E-R-S. And in my mind, this is the stuff that you build upon. So when storms, adversity, struggles, or even success comes, because success can blow down what you've built, though you respond to success. Adversity, struggles, setbacks, hardships, that can take down the house that you build this year. But if you build it on pavers, strong stones, if you allow pavers to lead your way, to guide your path to where you need to go, it'll make the difference. And so the last S is scribing, same thing as journaling. And so that I like using a 5-minute journal. I journal in the morning what I'm grateful for. I journal what I learned. At the end of the day, I journal. Sundays was always a night of reflection and journaling, right? I wanted to not just have experience. I wanted to have reflected upon experience, journaled upon experience, so I could take the experience and turn it into insight and actually grow and develop and take the most from it. So scribing, journaling. At the end of each appointment, journal. What went right, what went wrong? Be intentional by it. And see, the conclusion is this. If you can place these pavers in your morning, the prayer, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, the concrete, the stone, this firm level surface, it's going to make the path to get you to where you want to go. But don't go out there and see success and then it disappear and be fleeting because you're not doing these things. I want to get rid of self-sabotaging beliefs. I want to get rid of distortion, discouragement that can come in, disappointment that can creep in my mind, losing the battle in my mind. You could be the most talented person out there, and I've seen the most talented people out there that are great at sales and building business, but if they don't have their mind right, if they don't win the battle in their mind, they're going to eventually lose the battle that's visible, that everybody can see, which is the results and outcome that's produced week in and week out. So guys, I hope this makes sense. Lay some pavers today. Put these things in practice. The difference between success and failure is small habits like these. Make it a big week. Stay strong, be steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I have a very special guest to me. One of my loves, one of my princesses. I have Princess Parker in the studio today. Hi, Parker.
Hi.
All right, I have a question for you, sweetheart. Every night and every morning, we do affirmations, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite affirmations that you like the best?
I'm a child of God, and I'm fearfully, wonderfully made, and I'm positive, I honor Jesus. I like every single one of them.
Okay, so you've got a list of them. Do you think, Parks, that anybody that does it, that it's going to help them? It'll make them, does it make you feel better?
Yeah.
So it'll help everybody?
Mm-hmm.
They should do it?
Yeah.
Okay, is there ever times when you say them out loud and you're maybe frustrated, but you say it and it kind of just makes you feel a little better?
Mm-hmm.
So there you guys have it. All right. If you don't know now you know. I agree 100% with Princess Parker. Put together some affirmations. Spend some time. It's one thing to know, it's another thing to do. So yeah, it makes sense. You start speaking to yourself and all this stuff that we covered today in today's podcast. But you want to go do it. Do it now. Put together affirmations. Start reading them. And over a period of time, it'll make a massive difference. So thank you guys. Make it a big week. Stay strong. Stay steadfast. Thank you, Princess Parker.
You're welcome.